you have a productivity hack, an easy productivity hack. Instead of spending time getting in the mood to work, just start working.
Instead of getting in the mood to work, just start working, because at the end of the day, you are not going to get in the mood to work. And through this, we must know that we're never going to be in the mood to work, which is why we have to get in the mood to work, which is why we have to start doing the work, because at the same time, we will never be wanting to work because we are afraid of that happenstance, that first step, that next leap. And at the same time, we will never know where this life will lead us to, which is the unknown, it's the void, it's the thing that is crawling at your soul.
The work. People think they need perfect conditions to start, when in reality, starting is the perfect condition.
You do not need perfect conditions to start. You just need one condition, and that is doing the work now, because if not, other people. Hold on. Shut up. Burp. Not fun. You don't need perfect conditions to start, which is why starting is the perfect condition, because without doing the conditions, without doing the start, without doing the steps, you may never know where this life will lead you to. And through this next step, through this next leap, through this next thing, we may never know where this life will lead us to, which is the void. It's the unknown. You may never know where this life will read out to you. You may never know what will happen next, because you're afraid of starting within the perfect condition. I don't think I need to explain this any more than what I've done, so let's continue.
To that. I love that. Because if you think, like I obviously am somebody who always wants to optimize how much work I do per unit of time.
I also am like that. I would rather do more work per optimization of time versus doing nothing at all and making no money off of it. That's why I would rather work until my eyes bleed versus waiting until I just don't want to work. Which is why doing the work is the best condition, and putting your foot down by actually wanting you to do the work. Because without you not wanting to do the work, then you may never know where this life will lead you to. So let's continue.
And so I was, there was definitely times earlier in my life I was really romanticized by these like very extensive morning routines and supplement rituals and like all this stuff of mental masturbation around the work that needed to be done. But when I looked at 2 hours later and nothing had actually gotten done, the moment you begin working is when your output per unit of time goes up. And so you begin working is when your output per unit of time.
When you begin working, that is when the output per unit of time goes up. And without doing the work, you are lollygagging, you are procrastinating, which I hope that to nobody that they procrastinate on the work that needs to be done today. Because if not, it will never get done, and through that, you might never know where this life will lead you to.
And so that makes beginning the single greatest hack that you can have.
Which is why beginning is the single most greatest hack that you can have. Because without starting the work, without starting the effort, without starting the thing, you might never know where this life will lead you to. Which I think is the best point of life. Is that which is why starting is the single most beginning hack, and making it the beginning, starting the work, doing the output, doing the input. Without doing it, you may never know where this life will lead you to, which is the single most greatest hack that you can ever have. Make sense?
For everything else that you do in work. Because the thing is, when you start working, you start getting...
Because when you start working, you start getting in the mood to work. I've already seen this good time. I mean, this is my second time reacting to this video. So, which is why starting the work, you start in the mood to work. And when you get in the mood to work, you want to work more. You want to do more. You want to become more. And through that is when you go. That is when you do. That is when you try. Because if not, you may never know where this life will lead you to.
Mood to work, right? Like everything else is procrastinating around the work that you think you should do.
Everything is procrastinating around the work that you should be doing. Procrastination at its finest is not doing the work that needs to be done. And whatever that work is, if it's school, if it's content, whatever it is, it's work. And without getting the work done, it will never get done. Which means doing the work now is the best opportunity for you. Hopefully that makes sense.
Every month, this Airbnb pays me about $2,700 in semi-passive income. Now here's...
I have noticed, for me at least, I have some big mental tasks. You know what I mean? Like big content piece or big thing that you need. Like, it's going to take real mental effort.
Because nothing in this life will take real mental effort. Nothing in this life takes a lot of real mental effort. That's what I meant to say. And through this mental effort, we have to keep on trying, keep on doing, keep on believing, keep on understanding, keep on doing with what we must have done. And through this, we must know what the mental effort is. And whatever this mental effort is, it's a struggle. It'll be painful, it'll be hard, but at the same time, it needs to get done because the work that is not doing is the work that is not getting done.
Takes me like 5 minutes of actually being in it to then get a little bit of a lay of the land.
It takes them 5 minutes. It takes me one decision, which is 1 minute worth of my time. Do I want to make this video? Do I want to react to this video? Do I want to talk about something within this video? It takes me 1 minute, and that is the actionable step that leads to the end of the day, to the end of the minute. Because if you don't want to make the video, you can make a video on totally different thing. So it depends upon how much per unit of time it takes, how much decision it takes, and how much action it takes to lead yourself into those 2 steps. Without those 3 habits or 3 things, you may never know where this life will lead you to, which is the void. It's the unknown. It's the process of getting things done without not knowing what to get done.
To then get into it. But I used to take hours to delay to start the first 5 minutes. And so my time compression of when I thought I should start doing something and when I started doing it over time is just compressed to the point where it's like the moment I think that I need to start doing it, sometimes I just start it because then what happens, I get this open loop. And so rather than complete work at because a lot of people are like, I want to complete it.
And when you get an open loop, it's a positive feedback loop because you know with what you are doing, you are not wasting your time, you're not wasting your energy, you're not wasting your day. And when it's an open loop, it comes back as positive. Mostly. In my personal opinion.
Really nice, clean point. Stop halfway through the sentence because it'll drive you mad.
That's the Zygonic effect in full work. Do you know this story, Zygonic?
I don't.
Oh, wow. This is
Well, that's way more than I do.
That's what you shut up. That's what you're leveraging here. So The Zeigarnik effect was a study originally done on servers in restaurants.
Okay.
And they realized, you've ever been at a restaurant and a server comes up and stands with their hands behind the back and go, what would you like tonight, sir? And you say, I'll have the lobster roll and a glass of red wine and a blah, blah. And you're like, this motherfucker's not, he hasn't got a pen or a pad of paper. He's crazy. And then they go off. And what they realized was servers in restaurants were unbelievably good at being able to recall exactly what a table's order was while that table's order was still open. So guys in table 16, they want to swap the peas out for a little bit of extra rice, and they're doing this thing. Yeah. As soon as the table was closed, couldn't remember anything. So this is an open loop, closed loop system, and it's built into the brain. The brain abhors an open loop. It's the same reason why Netflix cliffhangers at the end of every episode guarantee that you'll watch the next one, because you can't bear the fact. There's even novels in the dark romance genre that make guarantees that there won't be cliffhangers. They put it on the front or the back of the book, and they say no cliffhangers guaranteed, which is, people have so much distaste for it that it's a selling point that you get the closure at the end of it. Yeah. And finishing halfway through a sentence reduces the activation energy required to begin that sentence the next day, and it keeps it
finishing and reducing the sentence to the end of day, to the end of right now, is what he's implying. I don't think I need to imply that anymore, but within that next day, that sentence becomes easier to comprehend, to do, to say. But I'm going to leave it there. I'll see you guys in the next one, and as always, stay unique and stay you. And yeah, have a good rest of your day. Peace.
Mind